Hello, emoji poppers. I am going live right now on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. So I didn't stream yesterday because yesterday we finally uploaded what we've been working on all last week, which is the UI redesign. So I can show you. You can see on the screen here. The game used to have these event badges in the middle and used to have this bottom UI layer. And so last week, just in the work we did last week, we totally got rid of all those things and we replaced them with this home layer UI flow. So now when you're playing the game, you'll eventually... So actually, let me show you. This is actually the new world in Emoji Pop. So these ghosts that are see-through, you can shoot through them. So I can make these matches up here. Even though there's stuff down here, you can shoot through it. And then you can also match the ones that are solid. And every turn, they'll flip which ones are solid and which ones are transparent. And so I could play this world for a while. And then once I run out of moves, I hit home. And it takes me back out to the home screen. So I start in the gameplay layer. But then I can go back out to the home layer where I see all of the important things about Emoji Pop. So it used to be that we had this bottom UI layer where we switched between the different tabs. And it was horrible. Because things like at the bottom you see trending levels. These are levels that players have made in the game, and I used to have this tucked away somewhere in the side, and so literally no one would play these levels. But now they are being displayed right in line with the play button and stuff. Hey, Madman PS2, what's up? How's it going? I was just saying I didn't stream yesterday because I was pretty tired. Finishing this video and getting what we worked on last week into the game. So everything we worked on last week, Mattman, is now live at playemojipop.com. So this is what the game looks like now. I even shouted you out. If you go to my YouTube, I think my name is Emoji Pop Cast. 680p looks better than 480. Nice. I was gonna switch it to something higher, but I forgot. I'll definitely do that yesterday. I got feedback elsewhere that they were complaining about the low quality, and I'm using it for my YouTube. I'm kind of clipping this and putting it in YouTube videos a little bit, and it looked horrible, so I realized I definitely need to start streaming better quality. But yeah, I called you out in the YouTube video. I said thanks to you there, because the YouTube video I made was all about the UI redesign, and I mentioned like all their feedback and stuff. So this week, there's still stuff that we need to work on with the UI redesign, so appreciate it. I'll watch and sub. Thanks, Madman PS2. So, for example, this trending levels, I can open up both these levels and play them, but it's a little broken, so the scroll bar doesn't work. These two levels aren't supposed to be at the top, and they're supposed to have emojis, so the way I'm defining this whole thing is totally right. This level doesn't have a second bubble because of the way it's defined, so there's just like little bugs here and there we just need to like clean up. So one of the tasks this week is to just clean up everything about the UI redesign. It also includes like doing the push down button effects everywhere, because there's so many pop-ups. I just didn't have time to implement that everywhere, but I think it would be cool, like you said last week, if it was consistent throughout. And then also the big thing I want to start working on is the meta layer. So in most mobile games, they come up with a meta layer that's at a higher level than the core gameplay. And this meta layer kind of feeds into the core gameplay loop in certain ways, and it gives players long-term value in the game. And that's one thing it does. It gives players long-term value in a game. That's really important for mobile games, specifically casual mobile games. Players are looking for not just fun gameplay, they're looking for something that they either has long-term value or something that they can easily incorporate into their daily routine. And so that's the second effect of a meta layer, is that it influences player behavior. So there are features in mobile games like daily login, where it gives you increasing rewards for how long you have been playing for how many days in a row you play. That's something that encourages constant day-to-day playing. And so if you can get a player to play every day, then if you can do that for a few days alone, you've already got them like programming their life around the game a little bit. So that's how you kind of get your game into players' heads. With my meta layer, I want to avoid anything too manipulative in a way, but it should give players long-term value and promote positive behaviors from the player. So the way it works now, and so this week I want to be thinking about it and maybe start working on some stuff, but I'm guessing I won't have time to complete it, so we can at least come up with the game plan and just get ready to execute on that game plan, I guess. So the way it works now is the first screen, there's two screens that are important to the meta layer. This third screen we can get rid of. The first one is tasks. So players at any point right now they have 3 tasks. I kind of replicated what Fortnite and some of these other mobile games do, for now. So beat 2 speed stars, that gives you 15 experience points. Win an event, that gives you 15. I completed this one, so I click it, and it fills up my experience bar. Right now I'm at a really high level, even though I shouldn't be or whatever. So, but normally it would fill up really quickly, and it earns the players gifts. And so gifts, when they open, they give players boosters and coins. And so coins feed into the second part of the meta layer, which is the customization feature. So you have an inventory with certain emoji parts, and you can select them to decide what your emoji avatar is going to look like. And so this emoji avatar is what gets displayed when you share your levels, and then in the future when we make competitive kind of events or whatever. This is your player's opportunity to kind of be creative with their avatar or funny or whatever. And so because part of the game is about making levels and sharing them, I figure my core audience is creative, and I feel in most mobile games I've been involved in, there's always been a bunch of people who really want to make a feature like this where you basically get to create your own character. And for most reasons it doesn't really work out. Some games do that, but I thought it would be perfect because it's an emoji, so I don't know, I thought that's a unique appeal to people who are playing the game and are really into the emoji thing. So, and it's something I can easily do because for now I'm using the Twitter art, even though I'm looking into eventually upgrading. For now I can just use all the Twitter emoji art, which is all open source, and I can take body parts out and quickly make all these items. So right now there's nothing in the shop. The shop costs coins to buy these parts. I blocked the shop feature for now while I'm working on it, but yeah. So you can either cancel or save your changes to your emoji, and then you exit out, and then your changes will be reflected on the home screen because this is where your emoji gets displayed. I'm also thinking I should probably raise this because I want to stand out from the social media buttons, and I'm thinking about putting a black circle behind it to make it stand out as a button more. So that's basically the direction we're going this week. Just so people listening in the chats and Mattman knows, we're finishing the UI kind of stuff. Maybe continue exploring that, continue doing stuff with the buttons like we were doing last week. But then also the biggest thing is look at this meta layer and how can we make I'm going to be thinking and looking for ideas about how to make a really enticing meta layer for the game. And so usually when I design, I'm just kind of talking out loud, but usually when I design these kinds of features, it involves me just thinking, me and everyone else just thinking of every possible design for it. So what's every possible way we could make this meta layer? And if you think through all of them, then you're bound to eventually find one and that surpasses the rest, and you learn from the failure of some ideas. And so that's the way I like to design, to me it's a process of thinking through every possibility. Although that seems obvious, a lot of designers that I've worked with don't work like that. There's a status quo position and you start there and then you must be convinced otherwise. For me, I want to think about every possibility and then pick the best one. That's kind of how I design this game in general. I've been making bubble shooters for years for companies and now on my own, and I've thought through so many ways you can make there's so many ways you can make a bubble shooter, and there's so many ways that I haven't even thought of. But for Emoji Pop, having thought of all these, I just found the one, I have all these different ideas, and I found the one way to repurpose as many of these ideas as possible into the best packages I could possibly make. And that decision is informed by the fact that I've been thinking about all these different possibilities of bubble shooters for so long. I picked the one that was the best and the one that I could best execute given my limited resources. So that's my whole design, part of my development philosophy kind of. Okay, so what should I? It's kind of weird starting again. I took a break yesterday because I was finishing implementing everything and making the video and everything, but also my throat's been kind of sore because I live in California where all these fires are, and so I think my throat is like really sore because of it. So I've had to I think it was good to kind of like take a couple days off because I could see this hurting my throat. I'm constantly drinking water. Alright. So I think the biggest question I have immediately for the meta layer, and I'm just going to be talking through the design of some of this stuff and then probably switching to UI stuff. Let me make sure I have the YouTube chat open. I do. I'm going to pull up the Periscope. I haven't seen the Periscope comments yet, so give me a second. I got four viewers on Periscope. What's up, everybody? I'm live on Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube. This is my game Emoji Pop. My name is Dylan. For those who don't know, I guess I should introduce myself quickly. This is my game Emoji Pop. So it's a bubble shooter puzzle game that's playable from your computer or your phone. You just got to go to playemojipop.com. And so this is the newly released World 10, just so everyone sees. So there's a bunch of worlds in the game, and I'm making one every single Monday, and each one comes with its own emoji obstacle. So this emoji obstacle is the ghost, and so the cool thing about it is you can shoot through the invisible ghosts, but then every turn they flip-flop which ones are solid and which ones are invisible, and so then you can match them. And so you're kind of trying to pick the best moves to make these matches in this world. Let me turn down my volume. Another thing, so there's so many things I want to do, but let me open my task list. So I'm keeping a list on a computer of suggestions from the chat about UI and stuff like that, but this is another list. This is a different list where I show kind of my it's like my production kind of notes, like what I'm going to be working on. So let me just update this real quick. So we mostly did that, we just need to finish this. Home button, we could probably use some improvements, but I'm just going to delete that for now. Trending levels. So we actually, another thing is the trending levels, we need to work on the UI for sharing, for author, social media, where it says this level was made by such and such. We can improve that UI and also include the person's emoji avatar. So that's one thing for. So this is gonna be for UI. I'm gonna make another one for our other. We're gonna have like an A and a B task. So while we're finalizing and polishing and improving the UI, we're also going to be working on the meta. Mattman PS2 says, I like the ghosts. Awesome, thanks. I'm glad you like them. I'm really excited about next week's obstacle because it's a lot more skill based, I think, than a lot of the obstacles so far. It's a dagger, so when you hit it, it goes a few spaces and clears everything that it's pointing towards. But the unique thing about it is that it's constantly spinning. So it can either spin slowly or spin quickly, and so as a player, you're trying to aim for these daggers and hit them at the perfect time to send them flying the way you want them to. And they can also kind of, if you hit them at the right time, they can kind of chain together. So I think that's going to be an awesome obstacle. I'm glad you like the ghosts though. So the ghosts are the first obstacle that players can shoot through. So it's actually kind of an introductory obstacle also to the World 14 obstacle, which is coming in a few weeks. The World 14 obstacle is the spider web, and so spiders can, the player can shoot through spider webs, and it goes through them, and as it goes through them, it clears them, and so you can actually make your entire level spider webs, and then like place matches through them, and they all are hung up by the spider web. So it totally changes the kind of structure for levels you can make. So my goal is every obstacle should change the gameplay space, expand it in some important way, and I've also tried to kind of order the emojis in such a way so that the basic ones come first and introduce mechanics that are used later but with a twist kind of, or by combining multiple mechanics or something. So yeah, I have some really cool emojis coming up. I might, around at this point, I might, if I have the resources, at some point I want to switch to 2 worlds a week, because the worlds are fairly short, and there's going to be some that don't have new emojis, because I can't be making a new emoji forever, because then eventually I would kind of burn through too much content too quickly. But yeah, I'm really excited about some of the ones later on that I'm kind of tweaking here and there. My favorite one is the cell phone emoji. I think I can show you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun making. I spent a good amount of time just making some really cool emojis, and I have a lot more ideas when I go back to it eventually, once we finish the UI and all this stuff. Here's the dagger. Oh, that's not a good dagger level. Let me find some cool levels. Or obstacles. I love the sirens, because the sirens are kind of like the daggers, because the daggers constantly spin and the sirens constantly change color. That's why they came first, 'cause the daggers are more punishing. One that I'm kind of uncertain about, let me show you one. This one's going to be in a couple weeks, and I'm kind of uncertain about it. I'm wondering if I should delay it and try to think on it a little more. So this is a colored TV, and I think if I hit it, all the TVs on the screen turn to that color, like it's a TV channel kind of. So they're all going to turn purple. And so I think I need to maybe dig into the design space a bit more. I think there's good ways to use it when you're only given like 1 or 2 on a screen, and so you're more intentionally trying to use them. But like, I think in general they might not be as exciting as some of these other emojis. Then there's the egg, which you hit it and the eggs, when you break it, they hatch these colored chicks, and they're partially random. So if you play a level once, the 2 chicks might turn blue, and then if you play it again, the 2 chicks might turn yellow. But so the pairs are always the same, just the colors are switching, which kind of changes. It adds a little randomness to the game. Oh, the mirror is my favorite. Let me find some of these cool ones. Oh, here's a spider web. Yeah, so you can shoot through them, but you can design levels very differently, because so it's really simple, but it changes the way levels play, because all of a sudden you're trying to it's not even always about making matches. Sometimes it's about shooting through stuff. And so I didn't make a match there, but that was still a good move, so it totally changes the design space. All kinds of stuff you can do with that. Let's see what else we got. Here's an egg. It's not as exciting. Okay, this is a good dagger level. So this is going to be next week. So we're going to be working on levels for this week. So you're basically... someone on Twitter says, "Did you draw all the emojis?" Thank you, Pablo Drow. No, I didn't draw all the emojis. So all these emojis are actually open source emojis by Twitter. It's part of their Tweemoji project, it's called. And so you're allowed to use their emojis in any commercial products with manipulation, as long as you attribute them. So in the settings here, you see art modified from Twitter. Here's the license and the link to the project. You can get this at playmojipop.com. And so what I did is I tweaked them. So for I kind of basically made animations over them. So you see them all blinking, these emojis. And they'll occasionally have these random animations that I made of the angry one will scream or the evil guy will laugh. So that was something I could do because I'm not an artist. That's something I could execute by myself. And I thought it was also cool because it's a game called Emoji Pop. Emoji is the perfect mascot if you think about it for a mobile game, because it's kind of native to the mobile kind of devices. And so by making the entire game out of real world emojis, I felt like that was a cool aesthetic and a cool tie into the real world kind of or something. But I've gotten feedback that maybe I should change the art style so I think at some point I could consider changing the art style and paying an artist to make really I could because right now they do look a little flat. I thought that was good because it kind of one thing I don't like about art in mobile games that gets too cutesy is that it starts to look like it's catered towards a certain audience, like kids or like older women or something. Like I used to work on a game called Snoopy Pop, and I thought it was a cool game in some ways, but like if you play it, like it's like a Snoopy game. Oh, it's designed for people who like Snoopy. So I myself would probably never download that game because it's Snoopy. It's got this cute art style. It's not for me. And I think a lot of companies they target that audience, which makes sense. But for me, I want a general audience. I want my art style to reflect the fact that it's a game for everybody, not a specific audience. And so that's another reason why I liked that it was more minimal and that maybe it was okay that it was flat. But I've also gotten feedback that there's people that want it looking cuter or juicy, and they want it. I could see like giving volume, for example, to these emoji characters. Like that alone would probably help. So I'm considering at least paying an artist to be like show me some stuff. Like let's go through some like demos. I've gotten Kessel's. I think one of my followers sent me a link to their artist, so I might contact them or someone else. So it's something at least worth exploring, especially since I've gotten so much feedback. I'm making this game with the community, so I want to at least listen to them and go down the paths that they think are important. It's up to me as the designer to like have the final word. But I really like leaning on my followers' feedback, especially since like everyone can do game design. It's I don't know. I think it makes sense to draw from the community as much as possible and empower them to help make this game as much as possible. So yeah. Let's keep going. Feel free to ask me any more questions about the game or anything. You can play it at playmojipop.com. You could also design your own levels and then share them. So this person, Pabradao on Twitter says, I think the visuals look good for hyper casual, which is for everyone. Okay, cool. That's awesome feedback. Thank you. That's a really good insight. I kind of agree with you. That's awesome. You think that? I haven't heard anyone confirm my belief like that as much, so it's good to hear someone with that opinion. Yeah, I'm still like kind of evaluating it. I'm open to suggestions. One thing about this game is I want to, with the emojis that I add to the game and the game modes that I add and the different features, I want this to expand eventually beyond just a bubble shooter game, beyond just a puzzle game. To me, the bubble shooter has really strong relationships with other kind of shooter genres of games. So for example, this is an obstacle based on the Space Invader emoji. So in a way, it's like you're kind of playing Space Invaders the way that they move, except that you have to mash them instead of just shoot them. So I want players to be able to make like any kind of like shooting any kind of puzzle game. I want to keep expanding the space as much as I can. And I have some crazy ways to do that. I have this logic system that I want to design and implement that will give players the ability to like do whatever they want, basically. And so once it gets down to this line in this mode, the shoe crushes you and you lose the level. So that's an emoji that is taking from another shooter genre, the Space Invader kind of genre, and it's incorporating that element in a unique way in my game. And I want to keep expanding my ability to do that. One crazy emoji obstacle that I have in the game that I really want to show you is this phone emoji. It's a whiles away. It's a bit away, so I'm still like working on it, but it does something crazy. So when you hit these emojis, the phone emoji opens up a mini level, and so you have to beat this mini level. Oh, it crashed. But if I beat the mini level, it rewards me moves to beat that other level I was in. So when you're playing a level, you want to like hit these phones because you have a chance to like earn more moves and get farther in the level. If the designer wants to, they can also penalize the player if they lose, but that's not the way it has to be. The phone will flash the number of moves players can win or lose. Let me refresh, because there's one more crazy thing about the phone emoji that I want to show you if you haven't seen the phone emoji yet. One sec, I just want to show you. So the other crazy thing about the phone emoji is that you can put phone emojis within phone emoji levels, and you can do this like Inception thing, this crazy recursive gameplay. So let me show you. So if I hit this emoji, the phone opens up and there's a mini level. And so let's just try to beat this. Can I close this? No. So this was actually, I didn't think this was I thought this was a different level, but let's see if we can just get through it. So this is a dice emoji. When you hit the dice, they roll to a random color and sometimes make chain reaction matches. So I won 3 moves because I won that level, and that gives me a better chance of beating this bigger level. So there's another phone level. I can't find it. But basically, you can basically have levels within levels. So you can have a phone emoji that pops up, and then within that, another phone will pop up. Then you hit another phone with that, and that will pop up, and so it's crazy stacked. Why do the emojis lose their face when you shoot them? You mean like why they go away? Is that what you're saying? Why do the emojis lose? Or does that mean if they're like mid animation and I match them? I think you might mean when I match them when they're in mid animation. Is that why you're asking? Because that's something that I could fix, I think. If you hit a non-matching combo, they lose their face on screen. Great question. So this is you were very astute to point this out. So the reason is because at the end of the level, let me find a good example. So let's say we're at the very top of a level. If you miss, so let's say this is the end of a level. If you miss this shot, I didn't want that to remain an emoji face because the goal of the level is to clear these emoji faces. So there can be other emojis in the board, like soaps and like non-colored faces. And you can still win. So the goal of the level is to beat all of these faces. So at the end of the level, what if the player accidentally did what I did and shot something on the top of the screen? I didn't want them to think that they had to match that because that requires them to like have to shoot it a couple more times because to match you need a match of 3. And so I wanted them to know, because sometimes you could shoot something somewhere and it could be impossible to match if depending on the obstacles and where you shoot it. So I wanted the player visually to know you don't have to worry about this emoji. You just worry about the ones on the faces, you know? So that's why I designed it like that. That's a good observation. Yeah, because people ask like, oh, I've seen people ask, that's weird that it changed, but I'm always to explain like, yeah, it's because like players would get confused and they would feel like they have to, or if. That's confusing, to be honest. I didn't even know you need a match of 3. Yeah, that's another thing that I don't ever explicitly say, but I do avoid single bubbles throughout. I could highlight that rule in a level that uses single bubbles really like obviously and like in a way that is friendly. That's usually like a mechanic that's saved for later on in the game. So it is confusing, but it's necessary because what would be more confusing would be, let's say I play this level and I shoot right here and it becomes an emoji face, and then I shoot these emojis and then I beat the level. I would be like, why did I beat the level when there's an emoji face here? Because all of a sudden then the objective for beating the level is confusing to me, and that's horrible. I want the thing that I really need to make sure above all else is that the objective that the player is pursuing throughout the entire game when they're trying to beat a level, they need to be clear about the victory conditions. Otherwise, everything kind of crumbles. And so that's why I wanted to be very clear that you don't have to like clear the bubbles you shoot. It is confusing, but it's confusing anyway. So I had to kind of like pick the least confusing thing. I get it, still confusing the players. Yeah, totally. I'm always open to suggestions or whatever. I could make like the face go away while it's shooting. That doesn't do that much. I could make these solids. So I could make, when you shoot, it could be a solid. But I wanted players to make sure they understood the association between the angry face and the angry faces they were shooting at. So like that would be a way to prevent the confusion, but then it introduces confusion in another way, which is that players, maybe at the very beginning, players would be like, I have a red emoji, but these have faces on it, And then also players who can't see colors well, these angry faces serve as a signifier as to what color they are, which is really helpful. So like, yeah, when you design these games, like sometimes there's not like a perfectly elegant solution. It's just kind of like a juggling act, and you do like the best thing for the time, and then you see if anything else comes up as the game evolves, you know. But yeah, I love these, like talking about these like little like these little design aspects about the game that are really detailed, and like talking about which way they should be. That's like, that's my favorite thing about designing games in the industry, is deciding that as a group or whatever. Thanks again to Pabradao on Twitter for asking me those questions. You can play the game at playmojipop.com. Let me go back. So yeah, that's like a good glimpse of what's to come with the obstacle emojis and stuff like that. I'm thinking. My throat's getting a little weird. Yeah, I had to take like a day off, kind of, because I was finishing everything, but also like there's all these fires and my throat is kind of sore. All right. So we could look at this trending levels thing. Let's look at the list. So we have some UI redesign stuff. We have to work on finishing the buttons and the trending level UI. And the oh yeah, and then for the trending UI, also just getting the scroller working. So that's the UI stuff. Maybe we can look at working on the other buttons for now. Meta, tutorial arrow, when random moves. Oh yeah. 3. Madman PS2 says you might want to label your little avatar to distinguish it from the social media buttons. That's a good idea. I was thinking about like raising it up, maybe making it a little bigger, maybe putting like a black circle around it. I like the idea of putting a label there though, because I think yeah, I'm thinking, do I want to just put the label? Maybe I could make it like, I want to raise it up a little bit too. Let's do that right now. Let me make sure I saved that. Switching to my coding glasses. Alright. So that is in the home layer. And it's called social media button C. Right here is where we define it. It's of the class emoji pop. Oh, you can't see my screen. All right. So yeah, so it's called the emoji pop character layer. I use that anywhere I put out your emoji. Madman PS2 says, and maybe space it out from the social media buttons so it's clearly in the middle and focus. Well, that's a great idea. I like the idea of spacing it. I could push the other ones to the side. Cool. So I'm curious what you think after I make these changes like that one. That's a great idea. So let's first start by, see it again. Yeah, so first I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. Let's see what size works. Okay. So that would be okay for size for now. I'm trying to think. Let's make it a little bigger. We can always size down the other buttons if we have to. Let me know if anyone has any questions about the game, or you could play it at playmojipop.com. If you like level design, you could make your own level in it, and then you could share the link to me and the rest of the world on social media, and I could play it live on here and feature it in the game. So let's go. Okay, so that is pretty big. Let's see. That might be okay. So, okay. Now let's kind of space out the social media buttons like Mattman PS2 was saying. Let's make them start kind of by the side. We might want to size them down. So I'm going to make a variable that dictates what the width of these social media buttons is. So social button width equals, right now it's the width divided by 6. Let's try the width divided by 7. And we'll make one for the center as well, because we can always change it later just by reverting this variable. And so this dot width over 4 is the width of the center button right here. So we're going to space out the buttons a bit. So let's replace the center button widths with the variable. I'm watching the chat on Twitter and Twitch and YouTube. I see we got a lot of viewers on Twitch. My name is Dylan, and this is my game Emoji Pop. And we're working on the UI right now, but you should go there yourself and check out the game and ask me questions about it. You can see the link to the game at the very top. So I'm going to copy and paste this for the smaller button widths. So we use that to scale the social media buttons, but also to decide where its position is. So we have 4 of these social media buttons to update. Social button width. And so another thing is, because the buttons aren't all the same size anymore, instead of just multiplying the social media button width times 2, we also have to add the width of the center button. Madman PS2 says, did you download Photoshop? No. Let me pop that open right now. Have the Creative Cloud like installation thing. I'm gonna do it right now because I know I'm like lazy and I'll just keep procrastinating. Photoshop is installing once I input the password. Alright, yeah, I'm really grateful to have you in my audience, Mattman, so I'm gonna install Photoshop for you. It is installing 7%. Should have done this a while ago. So I think we're good for the sizings. Yeah. There's the Photoshop in progress. I'm excited to like get into it. I've used GIMP for like since freshman year of college. Like for 8 years, I've used GIMP because I've never wanted to go through the effort of getting Photoshop, basically. But now I got it. Okay, that is messed up. Let's see what happened there. Weird. Okay, so so one thing is that's right. So the center for social media button C is correct. And so social media button A actually I was saying before, I should make this start from the outside. So this is going to be, so let's start this from 5, it's the most outermost one. And then the one on the far right will start from the start width -5 minus the width of the button, which includes multiplying by its scale. So let's see if the outside ones are aligned correctly. Yeah, I started streaming on Twitter through Periscope as well, because on Twitter, like on your mobile device, on the app, it like, oh, it looks like there's a bug, 147. Why is it a bug? Syntax error. Oh, no comma. Forgot what I was saying. Okay, so that's good. They're on the outside. Now let's align the social media buttons. I'm wondering if we should place them in the center. I'm thinking so for now. Madman PS2 says, did you have to code as a Bubble Pop level designer? What language that's to be made in? Those kind of companies, the ones that I've kind of been acquainted with, at least, they make games with tools like Unity. I didn't have to code as a level designer for those bubble popping games. So most game designers, level designers in those games that I've worked on, they haven't been able to code. But or they haven't even, there's like no reason to code, basically. Like I think the engineers like it. I don't know. Anyway, and so I came along able to code just kind of by accident. The things we do don't require code. So we're making levels, we're designing features, we're working with engineers and artists to make sure the obstacles and the different features of the game are moving along correctly. So what did you just open up Unity and work and set up levels? Yep. So for the first months, since I was this is my first job in the games industry as well, I literally just would open up Unity, which they made a level editor for the designers, which is just a really simple thing. That's what all these companies do. They just have a level editor of their game. I'm not speaking specifically, I'm just speaking generally. And then I would just make levels all day for a long time. That was my training, as a junior game designer, is just literally making these levels. So that's why I think it's so cool that I made this game, including the level creator, because this was my job. You're looking at my job right here for a year. So I think this is a really relevant skill, for getting a job. If you were making levels like this, if someone was making levels and wanted to be a game designer, and they made hundreds of levels and they worked with me and they did this for a year or something, and then they applied to get a job, they would blow those people's minds because they'd already had done the job. when I got this job, like I had no even experience making levels at all. So like I really think that using these kinds of tools, and you can even show them these are the things levels I've made and I can do this in your game, like that would, I guarantee that person would get the job because they are showing that they actually have the experience. So and so yeah, it wasn't designed on paper and given to a developer. We would actually do it ourselves, like kind of like this tool right here, as I was saying. Like we'd have a tool where we would make the levels, and it was pretty primitive, but you were able to input the emojis just like here, kind of, and test it, and then you send the team the JSON files that are, or whatever CSV files or whatever they are, that encapsulates the data, all the bubbles, and then you can just put that in the game, and that's basically what the job is as a level designer in the mobile game industry. But I'm kind of crazy, so I started programming because I was like, I'm just gonna make my own level editor, because I want to make my own level editor and have like all these crazy features, and I didn't want to deal with their tool because it was all messy and stuff. So I was like, I'm just gonna make my own, since it's just JSONs. Like all they need is JSON files, and so I was like, I'm just gonna do it on my own then, and because they don't care as long as they get their JSONs correctly formatted. And so I made basically this insane tools that did some insane stuff. It was crazy. Like I was being able to code as a game designer, level designer. Like if you can think outside of the box, like you could do things that like increase productivity like tenfold, and you could like really change things and like put yourself in a good position, you know, and really improve the company and everything. So yeah, so I went through all that, and I was like, okay, I need to like, basically I did a ton of stuff, and then I was like, I wanted to like design these games though. That was my whole goal, is to be able to like save. Did you share your tools with colleagues or keep them to yourself? I shared them, or I tried to for a while, but I got into this crazy situation that I can't really go into, because I was kind of pushing this ground that scared some people or threatened some people, including like management, and it became this like horrible situation. So I can't really talk about it too much, but I did there was a point where I kind of had to keep it private, and I had to do all this on my own time because of certain things, but then there was some changes made at the company partially because of my situation, I think, and then I was able to like do it in public without keeping it a secret. That's wild. Thanks for sharing. Funny story. Yeah, it's a weird story. It's really all this really like shaped like my perspective, because I've seen all these things in the industry, because like just I'm a new kid, and I'm like, oh, I can do this crazy stuff that like we can make levels 10 times as fast, and if you do those kinds of changes, like that really is like revolutionary for certain things in terms of how these companies work. And so I see in these mobile game studios, I see all this room for improvement and exploring new spaces, and there's all this stuff to be made, not just by me, by everyone. And I saw the way they work, and I was like, okay, like after everything I did for them, I still wasn't able to be in a position where I could design these games. They basically like forced me to be a programmer, and I was like, oh, I hate coding. So I've only ever made games for myself, says Mattman PS2. Interesting to hear more corporate large-scale perspective. Yeah, I would honestly, like, you probably have more experience, so it's probably like, as when I was young, I had like no experience, very little experience making my own games, you know, in terms of like I had made some, but like I wasn't that good or whatever. So like seeing the industry, and then like working on my craft, like making these levels every day was really good, but also just seeing the industry, like you're saying, like it like was really mind-opening, and it's really informed the way I make games now. And so I don't know if you've ever heard of the book called Creativity Inc. by the founder of Pixar, but that's like kind of the way I think of game development now, because I've seen in the industry all these horrible practices that the Pixar person in Creativity Inc. actually calls out in film studios. And so I think this is just like a common problem in all creative industries, especially ones that are booming. So like mobile game companies, they're only like 8 years old, and so they came out when there was no competitors, and they made all this money, and so they were like, now they're sure that they're doing things the right way, and they just double down on doing things, making the same games the way that they've always made them, and not considering any other options. And like I think it's really, really bad, and it leaves a lot of ground to explore. So that's why like I wanted to try on my own. As crazy as it sounds, I wanted to be able to get some experience designing these games. So like either it worked out for me, or worst case scenario, I try to find someone that allows me to design games for them. Instead of just being a level designer or being a coder, I want some agency to like shape these games. And often when you actually make these games, you're just copying another game. And if you ever do anything that's different at these corporations, then they're like, why are you doing this different than Candy Crush? But Candy Crush did it like this. And you could have a great reason for why, but it doesn't really matter. And they're just scared of doing things differently. And so the CEO of the company that I used to work at, he said in a magazine article that I read that his favorite book of all time was this book, Creativity Inc. And so I'm working and I'm like in this political situation because the company is like running this really awful way, or like certain people are, and I'm reading that the CEO says his favorite book is Creativity Inc., which encourages like game studios and like business enterprises, creative enterprises to run certain ways. And I was like, this company is the antithesis of the ideas in this book. Like I blew my mind that the CEO said that was his favorite book of all time. Literally out of every book in the world, he said that's his favorite. And I was like, that's the one book that literally refutes everything we're doing here. Like it was just so much hypocrisy. It was crazy. I don't know, just a little rant session, I guess. It's pretty funny to think about though, because it's been a couple years since I worked there, so I'm pretty far removed from that. But at the time, it was like a crazy thing being there. But I really encourage like maybe, I don't know, maybe you're different, but like some people, like especially if you don't have experience, I'm like, you should work at these corporations, because like now I've learned a lot. I learned how to make games that like I learned the psychology. Like it's kind of you just need it, like you can do it on your own, because it's not like they taught me this. Like they don't know what they're doing. Like I taught myself the psychology of mobile players. I taught myself about long-term value and events, and I taught myself most of the complex stuff to know about making mobile games just by like being there and having to work the job. But you can do it on your own as well. But it was really good for me to go through that experience. It would have taken me personally a long time to kind of think about all of the stuff that I've learned there, just being in that environment and everything and working on it all the time. And it's also really awesome to see the way they work, because it's giving me all these ideas about how to work differently. Having no resources, I see what they're doing wrong, and so I'm doing things that are right, and to kind of like leverage against that. So for example, like it takes them a couple years to make these games. I'm like, I could just make this really quickly, and so, I don't know, I'm just trying to do things that I excel at. I'm trying to do those the most I can, and that includes like the ability to share levels. Like I'm like, this is a creative idea that they would never pursue, and designing the level structure so that you never get stuck. That's different than them. I don't know, I'm just trying to like I don't know, basically really informed my game design to this day. It's kind of rambly, but I'll stop talking about that unless anyone has any questions. So yeah, I was working, what was that suggestion that you had? I forget what I was even doing. Oh yeah, the avatar buttons, that's what we're working on. So home, so let's just work on these inner ones. Yeah, I'm curious if Mattman, if you'd ever like be interested in working for a larger company on these games, or if you're happy where you are now, like doing what you're doing, and maybe you feel like you already have the experience, and that would just be a waste of time. Twitch and YouTube, B and D. So this is going to be in the middle of the two buttons for now. We'll see what that looks like. So it's going to be halfway between the right side of the Twitter button and the left side of the avatar. So let's start with B. So the right side of social media button A is this dot social button A dot X plus the width. And we need the scale to know what the actual width is. And so that's the left hand side. Feel free to ask me any questions about the game. Check it out at playemojipop.com for any device so that you can see it. Right now we're coding on the game right now. Later on we'll do some level design or something. So it's the left hand side, and then minus this dot social button c dot x. So that's the left hand side of that one. Madman PS2 says, want to be self-employed for as long as I can, help it. That totally makes sense. I'm right there with you, bud. Don't mind working with publishers and conforming to their needs, wants, but I still want control and the freedom of working on what I want. That is the benefit of working on your own. That's a great point. That totally makes sense. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Yeah, I could see people like you getting really stifled there, because like it depends on the job and the situation, but oftentimes like you won't get much creative freedom at all. Like, it makes sense. But I think that's bad. The fact that these corporate developers, you can't like, if you want creative freedom and stuff like that, you don't get any creative freedom at these corporations. But if the money was really good, true, it was nice to get a monthly check. But I worked in San Francisco, so like most of my money went to like rent anyway. So, and mobile game designers, I think, make more money than like console game designers in the industry. I'm pretty sure, which I thought was weird. Okay, there's probably a comma. $169 X. So that should be, let's do the other one. So this will be the one on the far right. Madman PS2 says, sounds like you could have done the job remotely and not lived in SF. Yeah, so great point as well. There was one person who worked there who lived in Texas. So they and they worked there for a long time, so they made a great salary. They lived in Texas, which the taxes are really low and the real estate is pretty cheap, and they could and they didn't have to commute or anything, so they had like the perfect situation. It was crazy. Yeah, at a point though, like, if you want to, like, I don't know, I think it's impossible. Like, at a certain point, I was doing all this other stuff, and I grew and expanded past just a level designer, and then I did need to be there. But I wouldn't have been able to really expand as like, I don't know, a person working there with agency if I was working remotely. But the fact that I was there and I was making things that influenced things, like, it did give me agency, and I did get like bigger and bigger and bigger roles that went on, and so like that was the good part about living there. But yeah, like, it's really expensive, so I lived like an hour away, and it was still I paid like $2,000 rent on like a little box, a studio apartment, just like the smallest apartment you can imagine, and it was an hour away from San Francisco. It was really far away. Right before I got that job, this is a funny story really quickly. Yuck, 2,000 rent makes me want to puke. It was insane. The craziest thing is, I was working a job as like a software engineer in college. I got a job while I was still in college, my last semester, and they made me like work there a few days a week while I was still in school, and they basically didn't care about my education at all. So I was skipping all my classes. I just didn't go to some of my classes my last year because I was working a job, and I was like, well, this is more important, I guess. This is my coding job finally. And so I worked there. I was commuting 2 hours to work, 2 hours from work, 3 days a week, while being in classes and everything going on the last semester. And I did this so I could have a job after college. It was worth it because I needed a job. And so we graduated. I put down money for a year. I signed a contract for a year lease, which was $2,000 a month, so that I could work there in San Francisco at this job. And then a week later, after I signed this year lease, they laid me off. So I was I'd graduated 3 weeks earlier. I had just signed I basically promised $24,000 of rent money for the year because I assumed I was gonna have this job for more than a week, and like they basically like ruined my life and then laid me off, and I didn't get any benefit out of it. And so that was what happened to me, and I got stranded there. And then at the last moment before I was about to like go under, I got a job at this company where I worked on bubble shooters and stuff. And so that was kind of like my whole career experience there. Like, I don't know. So $2,000 rent plus I wasn't making any money. I was just burning through everything I had. It's crazy. And I was like, well, welcome to the real world. I thought if you worked hard, like good things happen to you. And I was like, oh, I guess that's not always the case. Good to know. PS2 says, sounds so stressful. Yeah, I kind of have blacked part of that memory out, but I was really, I was kind of a mess at that time. Also, I was going through like a bad relationship, and I was like homesick, and I was like going through some weird stuff with other people. It was like horrible. I remember drinking a lot. It was bad. But I am no longer in that situation, thankfully. B. Oh yeah, working on D. So this is the far right button. Minus the right side of the center button. It's crazy though, like how that kind of just happens to you, stuff like that, you know, like going through life or whatever. Plus it's width. Oh, it's an object, so we don't have to do the scale. And for B, I realized I made a mistake. No, I didn't. I feel like I messed this up, but let's see. How was your weekend at the cottage? How was the beer? We got a bug. 169 in the home layer. Social button C. Social button E is not defined yet. We need to define this after. Mattman says, weekend was good, nice to relax up north before the cold fall/winter comes. That totally makes sense up there. Been drinking more hard seltzer than beer lately. Interesting, hard seltzer. I don't think I've even ever had that. What about you? Your weekend good? It was good. I made some videos, which I was enjoying doing. I was working on I realized there were some bugs in the game that I was fixing. That doesn't sound too enjoyable, but it was actually okay. I drank some beer too. I'm still on the IPA phase. Yesterday I took kind of the evening off, so that was more my break because I was like really tired and stuff. This one is missing. But yeah, I want to work really hard this week, and I might take more of a weekend off next week. Because like I don't want to work too many days in a row and burn myself out. Social button D. Oh. I think they're on top of each other. The Twitch. PS2 says, I get burnt out if I don't take most weekends off. Totally makes sense. I need to force myself to do that, or I think sometimes I work kind of unproductively a little bit, so I'm working during the day and then maybe I'm like listening to something on the side, or I'm turning away to something else. Like I got Fall Guys open in the background or something on the stream once in a while, And so then because of that, I feel the need to work all the time, so that otherwise I'll feel bad because I'm like, oh, I wasted time earlier. I got to keep working, and so I end up just lightly working all the time, and that's like horrible. It's not the best productive position to be in, and you don't get time off. So I need to I think I'm starting to be in that a little bit. Like I'm actually working pretty productively, but yeah, I'm like, I don't know. It's hard for me to turn off. But then I'll go through months of not being able to work or something horrible, I get, because I need to be careful. It's also hard because there's I want to go out and do something, but there's nothing to do, there's nothing really to I don't know. All I do is I'll just my break is drinking beer by itself. It's not that enjoyable. It's pretty enjoyable actually, but I don't know. Yeah, are you kidding me? I have a great time when I drink by myself. Social button D. Oh yeah, so the problem is why is the YouTube one where the Twitch one should be? Social button E is all the way over here minus this. Did I do it oppositely or something? Let's see what happens here. Oh. Amog Changavi is in the chat. I do the same, lightly working all the time. Oh yeah, it's kind of bad. Amog Changavi. He just joined again. He said, "What's up? What's up, Amog?" Yeah, good to see I'm not the only one lightly working all the time. I think I've seen you do that too. I don't like it about myself, but I think it's kind of impossible to get out of me. Mattman PS2 says, "Go to IPA." I've been doing a lot of the Deschutes stuff. I like the Deschutes IPAs. I think there's one called Elysian that I really like, and it's 8%, and it tastes really strong. I think those are my favorites. Out here, Amog Shangavi. I don't know what to say to you on this kind of channel. It's kind of weird that I feel like the channel's streaming is kind of not my real life, and now there's so much of my real life, and I'm like, oh god, I don't know what to say to this person. I recognize Elysian, not the other. Yeah, Deschutes, they're a company that makes a bunch of different kinds of them. Elysian, yeah, that one's really good. And Mo, when's the freaking experimental album coming out? My friend Amog, we were roommates in college, and now he makes music, which is actually really good. He's under the name Como, COMO, on Spotify. Okay, so for some reason now we made this one disappear. I'm confused. So this is the YouTube button. This is the Twitter button. Wait. Where's the Twitch? Oh, this is the Twitch button. Moog says, my main mission is to give you an identity crisis online. Dude, I have this really funny story that happened a couple days ago. It's like a Dylan story, but it's kind of, I don't think I can share it on the stream. I'll text it to you afterwards. It's like a moment that I'm not proud of about myself, basically, that I wouldn't want the world to know. So let me look back here. What we're doing on the stream is we're finishing this redesigning of the UI. Madman PS2, if you're just checking in, suggested we make this center button bigger and space out the social media buttons a bit to make sure players know that this is the main feature. We're doing this UI redesign because our next project will be to redesign this meta layer. So this is a meta game design system where you complete tasks and earn coins, which you can use to buy new parts for your emoji, which you can customize and share with the world. So that's what we're doing now, and so I'm looking into ideas about how to make this meta system better. So right now it's using tasks that players complete to earn points, to earn emoji parts. The emoji parts, all that's kind of been settled how this works. You can buy emoji parts for coins and use them to design your emoji. So now I'm just thinking, do I keep going with these tasks to earn the coins? Is there a different way I should be implementing it? I recognize Elysian, not the other. Now I want to know. Yeah, I know. I hesitated saying that. It was I had a bad moment. Man, I'm PS2. I don't want you to think badly about me, so that's why I'm not sharing with you, because I respect you too much. Yeah, so monitoring the chat on Twitch and YouTube and Twitter. So feel free to ask me any questions about the game, which you can play at playemojipop.com. It's got some pretty cool features in it, like you can design your own levels. Madman PS2 says, "LOL, no worries. We all have those moments." Yeah. Yes, we do. That's what I've been trying to tell myself. Oh, here's the emoji I wanted to show you earlier. So this is the cell phone emoji. Yeah, I guess no one calls them cell phones anymore, but so basically these open up mini puzzles that earn you more moves. So while you're playing, if you're running out of moves, maybe hit one of these phones and you can earn some more moves. So what it does is it opens up a mini level, and so if you win this, you earn more moves. But this level has a mini level within a mini level. So we could play that mini level. And oh, looky here, this mini level's got a mini level within it too. So if we beat that mini level, we get a couple moves which we use towards the bigger mini level, and if we win that mini level, we get more moves to use towards. So I'm looking for like all these different ways to totally change the way that you can structure these games, these levels. So this is another way, and of course there's going to be another mini level within that mini level, and another mini level within that mini level. And there's even another one there, but I think that's as deep as you can go. And so the idea is I'm changing the way you can structure levels. Like you can have levels within levels. The different obstacles allow you to make the different kinds of levels. We've got all these other crazy features that I'm working on. I want to start eventually. I'm keeping this list of tasks that we're working on. And so they include like I want to make another mode in the game besides the one that drops down. Working on level editor features, so you can design different features like copying and pasting or something, or undoing things in your level editor. Different stuff like art and sounds. Once we do all that stuff, I really want to implement like a logic system that allows players, so kind of like in Minecraft, how you can create all kinds of things like that aren't even really Minecraft. Like you can make like calculators and all this crazy stuff. I want to implement a system that allows my players to do that same kind of thing. So instead of just making bubble shooter levels, you can make like all kinds of stuff. You can make like little story sequences, or like you can make like other shooter kind of games. Like maybe you can make like Asteroids or Missile Command kind of. You can kind of like hack the game a bit to like make things work the way that you want them to, if that makes sense. So that's going to be a really deep task that we're going to be working on eventually. All this stuff I'm always thinking about a little bit, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with like the design direction, is that I'm just going to make the space. It's not about like making obstacles that are nice to look at or whatever. I'm just going to keep expanding the space more and more until like you can make all these crazy things, and my eventual goal is to allow players to make things that go viral. Like, so that's basically what I'm building to, is make such a deep space and with such intricate gameplay rules that it allows players to make crazy things. Like I would love players to be able to make like a calculator using like basically this logic system is going to be using these emojis as like transistors. So so you're basically wiring these emojis to implement conditional logic and stuff like that. And so my goal is to kind of like I could teach like people kind of coding concepts maybe, and they can use those concepts to design these weird creations in this game, and then maybe they're so crazy that they go viral and that people think they're really cool or whatever online. And I've increased the odds of that by allowing players obviously to share their own levels with the world with just a web link. That's what actually sets myself apart from other creative games. So there's other games. 408 Como is now following. Thank you, 408 Como. You are follower number 8, I believe. We're almost at 10 followers. I think we only need another 95 to hit our goal of 100 followers. Let's go, Como. Coming in with the follow. I'm such a lame orator, I just realized. Like, when I don't have things to say, I just start saying things. I really appreciate it, Amog, though. That helps a lot. Okay. So there's the YouTube button. I feel like an idiot trying to figure out where this other button is. Okay, so the YouTube button, if you see, this is where we define the YouTube button. I thought I was setting it to be placed over here, and the Twitch button is just not showing up. So let's look into why that is. Social button width. So we're setting its width correctly. Its position. I think this is wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. So I'm going to hide the YouTube button and we'll see if we can make Twitch button appear again. Just want to do this quickly so we can move on to the next thing. But yeah, biggest thing I'm thinking about is, and this is like a really deep design discussion, so right now it's in just the brain, what's it called when you think of ideas, brain something. We're just thinking of every possible way we could design this meta system so that it's the most engaging as possible. So one maybe detriment of these tasks is that like they're kind of in a menu on the side. They're not like totally integrated into the game. It's like these side tasks. So maybe like players who are really into the game would be interested in these, but I want something that's more immediate in the player's face. So that's, I don't know, something to think about. I want something that maybe feels more integrated into the core gameplay experience of beating these worlds and levels and stuff. So for that reason, I was thinking about doing something else. Maybe even like, this is like a crazy example, for example, but maybe there's things in these levels, in these worlds, that you need to like hit them to earn them, like coins and stuff, and maybe that's how you earn whatever you need to do to earn new emoji parts. So maybe like you have to get certain of these, maybe there are candies in the levels, and by getting a certain amount of candy you complete tasks or something like that. So that would be a way of integrating the gameplay and this meta system. So that's just one example of an idea. If anyone happens to have ideas, awesome. It's something I think that takes some time to think about. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about while I'm doing this stuff. Okay, so the Twitch button appears, thank God. So let's make the YouTube one appear on the right. So, oh, I know why it's not appearing on the right. I'm an idiot. Okay. So this dot width -5. So we need to do this dot social button e dot x plus. Oh wait. We're doing D. So D is, we're finding like the distance between, but we're not actually adding the X value. That was a brain fart. So we need to add the initial value. So it's appearing here because we need to add this value, whatever position this is, the right side of the center button, which is this dot social button c dot x plus this dot social button c dot width. Madman PS2 says, I like to give players a present that gives them a random player customization thing. You can show a pop-up with the progression bar so they can keep playing and get excited with their free present. Okay, let me read that again. Let me make sure. I like to give players a present that gives them a random player customization thing. Yeah, so I've kind of seen that in games. I can see where you're going with that. You can show a pop-up with the progression bar so they keep playing and get excited for their free present. Cool. So my question is, what's the progression bar stand for? Like, what are they doing to unlock that gift? Mine are always rewarded video ads, though. Okay, I see. Cool. Yeah, so I think that's a great idea. I could do that, and maybe, so instead of video ad, I want it to be something like making matches or like beating levels or something. I think that's a great path to go down now. And I can make that feel more like a part of the gameplay experience, because on like the home screen, I could show the progress, or if I find a way to do it it could maybe pop up if you make progress immediately, like a little achievement thing, like, oh, you made this much progress, and it goes away. But I like that idea of like having like this gift, and you're building anticipation towards that gift. I fill bar X% every level they play, so they have to play X levels to get a free reward. Cool. I think that makes sense. I think that's a great idea. So I'm basically doing that right now with these tasks. So you complete these tasks, and then you click them, and then you fill up this progress bar, and once it's all the way filled, you earn this gift. But I think these tasks aren't that really compelling. They're asking you to do things you do already, and you kind of just do them on accident, and if you're investing in the future, you just open them. It's kind of, I don't know, it's not ideal. So I think what I've gotten from yours is I need to be more present with that progress bar and gift. I want that to be more in the player's face, not in a pop-up. But also what I've kind of taken is I don't want it to be task-based. I want, like you said, I fill X% every level they play, so they have to play X levels. I want to do something like that where it's more like, maybe it's every world. So I was rewarding this box, which would give them coins and boosters, and you can use the coins to buy emoji parts. So I need to think too, like, maybe I have one box. I could have like two maybe rewards going at all times. Maybe one. Madman PS2 says my whole goal is high retention and high ad views. Okay, that totally makes sense. Thanks for stating your goals with that. So Madman PS2's goals are retaining players, getting them to stick around and keep playing over time, not monetizing them, and high ad views. Encouraging the ad spend. I like the idea of levels so I was thinking maybe I have two rewards, because I have some different needs that I'll mention in my game. So what's up, Deep Penguin Studios? I remember you. Thanks for joining the chat. Kessels is now live with us on Twitch. He said highway, but I think he meant to say hey. What's up, Kessels? How was your weekend? Yeah, I skipped the stream yesterday, everybody, because my throat was hurting because of these fires, and I was tired from updating the game and everything. Hey, what's up, Kessels? Thanks for confirming that you did mean to say hey. So we're talking about the meta system for the game, which you can see we've actually updated the game, so the UI redesign is in place now. So we're thinking about this meta system, and so Madman PS2 is talking about how they designed their meta system, and I think I want to take some inspiration from that. What I'm thinking about right now is having two gift boxes with progress bars. So kind of like Toon Blast, they have two chests, and so one chest you unlock by beating levels, and the other one is by earning stars, which you earn stars by beating levels. So they both are basically just rewarding progress in slightly different ways, and they give you like coins and boosters and stuff. So I was thinking, just off the top of my head, maybe I have one that gives players like a new emoji part maybe every world or something like that. Great progress you made. Thanks so much, Kessels. Yeah, it's all on playemojipop.com. It feels good to have these updates in. I'm excited to like keep perfecting. Like, I think after this week we'll perfect the UI. Like, we'll do more work on the buttons and make sure all the bugs are out. And I think every week we're gonna be able to see like a good movement forward and progress. So thanks again for the compliment, Kessels. So yeah, I'm thinking two emojis. Maybe one gives you two gifts. One gives you a new emoji part every turn, like maybe the more common items, because I want some like high value emoji avatar items that I don't want to just give the players really. I want them to like have to work for them. I think that could be a good motivator for me. So I could have giving them common emoji pieces every world, and the other one could be like you have to beat a certain number of levels, and that's important in my game because in Emoji Pop it's possible that you don't win. You could play Emoji Pop and keep going through the worlds without ever beating a level, technically. It would just take you a very long time. So by giving you a motivation to beat levels, an extra motivation, and rewarding that with like another gift, I think that could be really powerful for the loop, for the core loop. It really reinforces the the value of beating levels, because the second gift could be, instead of giving a common avatar item, I'm thinking of giving the player a gift full of like boosters and coins or whatever. So you can use the coins to buy the more advanced, the more flashy or whatever, the more rare avatar emoji pieces. Like a crown or a funny animation for your avatar or something like that, not just the basic smiles and eyes and stuff and colors. So you can earn coins that go towards that stuff, but also you earn like boosters that allow you to make quicker progress in the game. So that's kind of my thinking right now. Surface those progress bars and the gifts into the front of the game as much as possible without making it cluttered again. Maybe on the home layer. So maybe one could be like a gift here and a gift here or something, or maybe one of them, I don't know, should be displayed somewhere in the top UI bar or something, and it could show you like how. I gotta think about that. But yeah, one should be like rewarding you based on stars and giving you like coins and boosters, and the other could be a world thing that constantly gives you new emoji pieces that highlights the feature, the meta feature, and gives players a reason to keep playing the game, like a tangible feature maybe. So that's what I'm thinking. Let me know if you have any feedback. I know we're talking kind of abstractly. Maybe you'll need to see me implement it. I'd love any feedback anyone has on any of that stuff. Batman PS2 says, could put an emoji gift in level. If you hit, you get prize. That is an interesting idea. So Batman PS2 suggestion or idea is, you could put like items in the actual world levels, and you have to hit them in order to unlock them. So one thing I'm thinking about with that is, I think that would be, because another thing down the road I'm thinking about is implementing like events again, but in a more useful way. So I could have like a daily event once in a while where there's like, you can earn coins and stuff by hitting stuff in the game, Kessel says, and also a unlock store. Yeah, so we'll need to I'll talk about that in a second. Mattman PS2 says, would be worth a move if you get a cool, satisfying reward. Could give you plus X moves too. That's a great idea too. One feedback I'd have about that is, I think these are great ideas, but it could be complicated kind of implementing all in one kind of thing. So one thing I'm thinking of is, I would like an obstacle that gives players X moves on its own, kind of. So that could be one kind of thing in the game. There could be a gift in the game that gives them like a certain thing. So I like these suggestions a lot. I think I'm actually going to be implementing obstacles that earn players moves or deduct them and stuff like that. So I'm gonna hold off on that but that's a great idea for later. For example, I have this. We'll talk about that later, because I'm definitely thinking about some obstacles like that. Yeah, I do like the idea of putting stuff in the level though. So I'm thinking, I don't want players. I like the idea of putting a gift in the level that like unlocks skins and stuff like that. But I'm thinking that like players could miss it. Like it's maybe not as clear. I'm thinking like but I like the idea of putting stuff of value in the level. So one thing I was thinking is like the idea I mentioned before is like, what if there was fruit? There's all these colors of fruit, and maybe one of the gift emojis, one of the gifts that you are trying to unlock, one of the chests, maybe it requires you to hit a certain number of like those special emoji pieces. Your zombie is in the making, by the way. Oh, I forgot. Kessel's is including me in their game, in their Undead Kitchen, I believe it's called. And I sent them a picture of myself, and so I'm excited to see my zombie in the game. That's gonna be awesome. I'm excited to play on the stream too. Let me know if you have any like progress or whatever. Undead Eatery. Thank you for sharing that name, Undead Eatery. I'm super excited for that game. Let me know, keep me updated on your progress with that and everything. I'm glad I'm getting in the game. My very first game feature. First of many, I'm sure, right? But But yeah, like I'm wondering what you think about the idea of, instead of like, because I don't know, I like the idea. That's a great idea of like a gift boxes in the levels and stuff. But I think I like that more as like an event where you're looking for that, maybe for a special day. Like, oh, like it tells you before, oh, there's stuff in the level, look for it to unlock skins or whatever. It could even be seasonal, you know. But I like the idea of like stuff in the game of value that maybe will cost you extra moves to get this red strawberry. But if you get a certain amount of these fruits, then you unlock this gift emoji. So I think that's really compelling. Maybe I could have one chest where the players beat levels in order to unlock the chest, and maybe there's another chest where they have to hit the pieces in there. Mammoth PS2 says maybe add in skin to slot machine. I love the idea of a slot machine in a game. Have always wanted to make one. Okay, maybe add in skin to slot machine. Does that mean the player can earn skin stuff in the slot machine when they spin it to earn moves? Yeah, I like the idea of a slot machine too, because I wanted the rewards for beating a level to be kind of randomized. So sometimes you'll go on huge streaks and sometimes not so much. I'm not sure, just talking out my ass. LOL. Okay, Batman. I like the. I'm glad you mentioned the slot machine, because that's like a reward mechanic that I have, like that I should be considering. Like there could, maybe you hit something in the level that, like an obstacle that opens the slot machine reward thing for you. Like that could be cool. Or maybe the reward for the meta layer, whatever it is, maybe it is in the form of that slot machine again, which I already used when you beat a level. Yeah, I like that too as a slot machine. Let me just show the slot machine by beating this. This is the first ghost level, which is out now at playmojipop.com in World 10. So every move, the ghosts change which ones are see-through and which ones aren't. So you're kind of trying to match the giant matches when they form. And I'm going to beat the level and show you the slot machine. Yeah, so these ghosts make it really different to play. I wanted the first level to be easily beatable, so that you have a good positive experience with this emoji. So this shows our streak. So because we're on the last streak, we get the giant slot machine. So this is what the slot machine looks like. So yeah, they're all spinning, which was awesome to make, and depending on how many smiley faces show up, that shows how many moves you're going to earn. And so we're on a streak of 3, so we have a giant emoji slot machine. Normally you start out at a streak of 1 and there's only 2 slots, and so there's only a maximum of 3 moves you can make. So it's really important to keep the streak and keep it going. You want to keep beating levels to keep your streak up, because you want to keep having the chance to earn 10 moves, because that would give you lots of progress. So you hit stop, and then the slot machine comes into place. You're in 10 moves, you say okay. You get all the moves, and now you have 10 more moves to go up to the next star, basically. So yeah, I like that. I'm glad you brought that up. I kind of didn't think about that. Kessel says I'm back in 30 minutes. Cool, sounds good. We are an hour and a half into the stream. It's noon in California, which is on fire right now, but that's okay. Yeah. Feel free to shout out any ideas or any possible things we could be thinking about for the meta if you come across them. Yeah, don't worry about it if it's stupid, because in the brainstorming, that's the word. In brainstorming sessions, like I'm a big proponent of this. Like even in the industry when I worked, like we would never talk bad about an idea, because like we don't want anyone de-incentivized to share their idea, because we want everyone's idea out there. We want all the ideas to be seen, so we make the best choice, you know. So these kind of sessions are all about just sharing every possible crazy idea you can. I'm always yelling out super stupid suggestions, just because I want to get everything out there possible, you know. Shout out to Michigan for never catching fire. That is an advantage to Michigan. I'm envious. My throat is really dry right now. Oh yeah, I think we updated the position of that button. Let's just make sure that works. I got distracted by thinking about this meta, but I think these ideas, I think I see the future a lot more clearly now. It's moving away from these tasks and having a more clear goal that's integrated into the gameplay. Whether it's like the kind of ideas Matt PS2 was talking about, with like there's like objective emojis in the world that you're trying to hit. Like, I love that idea. I think we could figure out a way to use that in a way. So 178, I guess I messed up. Yeah, and making them front and center, not tucked away, just in the pop-up. Like, I like those ideas. I like that the suggestions so far have been like doubling down on the idea of the emoji skins. Like, I think that there's value in that, and I see the value you're kind of highlighting in the way that you're coming up with these ideas. Okay, so the social media button is now... Oh, wait. I think I need to divide this by 2 and we're good. Oh man. There's a good song called Michigan. I forget the name of the rap group, but okay, close. So the first in this line is this value right here, and we're adding this minus this. So divide by 2. So we also need to subtract the width of the button divided by 2. Social button d dot width times this dot social button d dot scale of 2, and we're good to go. Okay, we should actually, I'm going to change these. So this should be right next to the Twitter button. So this should be this dot social button e dot x minus okay. This one should be this dot social button a dot x plus its width. Oh, I forgot that you probably can't see any of this. Not that it really matters, probably, but just so you see what I'm working on. Yeah, so biggest gain from this session so far is definitely these ideas for the meta. Okay, that's okay for now. We can probably put a little space in there. Okay, so let's move on from that. Yeah, we mentioned like a label. Could say like EU or something. I do like the idea of featuring it in a black square as well, a black circle. It should have a label anyway still, so let's add like a label for now. This dot avatar label equals new true font label. I use Luckiest Guy as the font, and since I've used this font, I see this font everywhere now. I didn't know it was like a mainstream font. And we're gonna make it maybe like a quarter of the height of the avatar. for now. We'll add it to the scene. And so X, it's going to be right in the center. And for Y, alright, let's see what the label looks like. I could maybe even move this emoji down a little bit. Let's try that actually. So I'm gonna lower the Y, but other things are relying on the Y of that button, so I'm gonna save that position and use it. Okay, and so instead of this as a Y, well, let's lower it. I'm gonna lower it just a little for now. Let's refresh. I'm monitoring the chats on Twitch and Twitter. I think my YouTube chat might be outdated. Let me open it up again. Thanks Moke for subscribing to me on YouTube as well. I make YouTube videos under the name Emoji Popcast, same as my Twitch. And we just released okay, now I'm on the YouTube chat as well. So let's see. So this looks good. We just need to... Oh, it lowered everything. I forgot. So we need to make it so it doesn't lower everything, and we need to edit this font. Maybe we need to add a background for that label. So first, let's make the other emojis go up. Instead of relying on the middle button's Y, we have this variable that's saved where it used to be. So the social media buttons should be a little more lifted than the center one. All I got is me. Okay. And the label, we're gonna give a background label to. So it should be black. We're gonna offset it a bit. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, so today I'm just kind of, we had a good brainstorm session about this meta layer, a lot of great ideas from Admin PS2 and other members of the chat. So we are going to, I'm just kind of stewing on that. Feel free to give me any more ideas if you think of any, but that's going to be our next big task once we just finish some of this UI stuff, which will only take us another day or so. We could probably finish it today. So okay, I like the look of this for now. I still think it would be good to encapsulate it in a black circle. Maybe we'd do that a little bit later. So the other big thing with the UI, there's two big things, and one is making these buttons pop down and all the pop-ups and stuff, make it all consistent, And the other thing is fixing up this level scroller, fixing the level scroller so it works and stuff. I think that's going to be more kind of like annoying code stuff. So let's just work on the pop-ups for now. And that'll kind of require us to play the game and stuff anyway. Another thing I was thinking of doing is because I was noticing sometimes I cancel my shot and I accidentally click the home button, which isn't horrible, but I was wondering if when you aim, everything should disappear. Like everything should slide out. I'm not sure if it should or not, but I think that I don't know, it would emphasize the need to hold down. I think players would recognize that. I think it could add a little intensity, I don't know. And that would prevent the possibility of accidentally clicking some of these buttons. I could prevent that anyway, but in other ways. But it would I could have room to show players, to cancel your shot, bring it down, stuff like that. Let's think about that later. So for now, let's work on the level pop-up. So look, there's a star at the very top. I'm gonna hit it. I can shoot through all those ghosts in World 10. So this is where one button exists that doesn't pop down. I want you to do it for the close X buttons too. Let's just focus on the rectangle ones for now. So this is called the pre-layer, I believe. Let's open it up. Alright, so it's in the pop-up, since it's a pop-up. Pre-challenge layer is what it's called. And we define the button here. We should also add a background text that's black. Oh, did I even... Okay, that worked, okay. So... that's the button we're working on. So, BG... and it's going to be a little offset. It's going to be black. I'm monitoring the chats on Twitter and YouTube and Twitch, so feel free to ask me any questions about the game. It's called Emoji Pop. You can play it. The link's above. You can design your own levels and send them to me. Okay, so we got the label. Let's look at our event functions where we detect when the player presses down and presses up, so we can do the button press thing, and then we can kind of replicate this in all the pop-ups, all the main ones for now at least. Okay, so here's on touch end. It looks like there's no on touch beginning or moved. So that's one thing we need to add. On touch begin function. On touch move function pose. Yeah, I stream Monday through Friday. Stream in the morning for a few hours, and I try to stream in the afternoon for a couple. And we're always working on the game and designing levels, and I'm always reviewing players' levels in the game and giving feedback. So on touch begin, on touch move, on touch end. So this detects if it's in the play button. I guess this is before I had a pose within scaled function. So that's good. Let's do it here as well. So this turns the position into a localized position, so it's accurate for what's on the layer. Now we see if the pose within scaled. So is this pose loc? Is it within this dot play button? And if it is, then we press it down. And we update flag. If it's moved, there's two possibilities. If the flag is false, if it's not pressed down and it's within, then we need to press it down again. So it's not pressed down, but it's within, so that means we're moving it back into the button. But we could also have it be pressed down and it turns out that the position is not within the button, which means it's been moved out, which means we need to press it up, which includes reverting the flag. So we have a flag at the top called this.play button down equals false. And that's going to be the variable. And we're also going to set it whenever we do press down. We could probably do that in the function. So we need to press down and press up function. We set the flag in these functions. This is also where we're going to be manipulating the image. This is all I have to do. What's up, Read It Daddy on Twitter? How's it going? This is my game Emoji Pop. You can play it at the link above and give me feedback. I'm working on some UI button stuff. And so, where did I implement home layer? So let's look at it removes the button. That's the first thing this press down does. So this, where was I working? I was in pre-challenge. So let's remove the play button. And then we create the button again, but using the other version of it. And we also have to move down the text. So let's replicate that. So let's go to where we define the play button. Kessel says, "Am back. Have you talked to my art guy?" Not yet. I don't want to. I didn't want to reach out yet because I'm still just thinking about the art stuff, and I want to have that be like a main focus for a week going down the road. So I'm gonna definitely reach out to him. Thanks for giving me his information, but I could see I would love to reach out to him like a little bit later. I just want to work on cleaning up the game a bit more and everything like that, and then once I've moved forward a little bit more, then I want to, when I think the game is like impressive enough and rounded out enough, then I want to pursue the art. But I want to wait because I don't want to have too many pots cooking, you know. I just want to I want to be able to focus on that when we're doing that. Am hiring him again, of course. Cool. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm glad I have someone that have someone to really recommend, because I don't really know anyone who's totally available for stuff like that. At least I don't think I do. I think most people I know are working in the industry and stuff. Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you so much for that recommendation, though. That's really helpful. So I'm creating the button again. And we're going to do play BG down instead. And there's one other thing we did, which is moving the text. This.play button label, I think it's called. Play label. Y. There's a specific ratio we use based on the images, and it's this. But instead of folder button, it's play button. And we're going to do the same thing for the background. Oops. For the background label, which is the shadow. And we're going to add them when you press up, so they're back to normal. Okay, so let's just see if this works. I kind of did it haphazardly. I'm wondering, I feel like I must have missed something, so let's refresh. Actually, one of the big things that I missed is this on-touch began, on-touch move. We just created those. They're not going to be called anywhere. So let's go to our main container layer, which is where we open all the pop-ups. Let's go to on-touch. So this is the function that gets called on down. If there's not a pop-up, then it does this stuff. If there is a pop-up, if it's the world map layer, it does this. Else I would say just do the event, but this is going to be kind of a messy and not a perfect implementation, but I'm just going to do it for now so we see how it works. If this dot pre-challenge layer, is that what it's called? No, it's called pre-layer. Is not equal to null. Then it does this dot pre-layer dot on touch begin. Okay, let's see if that works. Thanks to everyone who was watching the chat. Thanks for Kessels and Mattman for joining me in Twitch. Thanks to Amog and Dow and everyone else on Twitter watching me. It's awesome to be able to work while talking to everyone and getting your feedback always and talking about indie games and stuff. It's awesome. Okay, does it work? No. Cannot read property X undefined. Whoa, this is a weird error. Pre-challenge 537. Oh. I just need to pass the position in the function, of course. Alright, I did it different ways. Let's see if this works. Okay. So one problem I see is, the position's a little off. So we'll work on that. It's not perfect where it's pressed down and stuff. And the label disappears, I think because it gets pushed behind the button, so that's an easy fix. All we have to do is when we create the label, we'll just set it at a Z space higher. So this BG will be 1. And I guess we can make the play label 2. So that will make sure the label doesn't disappear. So now let's look at the button pressing down. So the way it's defined, actually, it's anchor X is 0. That's a problem. We're going to make it 0. And we'll just compensate for that by subtracting half its width from the X. Let's see how it works now. And again, this is the new world in the game. Emoji Pop World 10. I'm so excited about the obstacle next week. It's like super cool. It's very skill based. Okay. So the play is off, that's okay. Still a little off. Let's fix the play label first. Okay, so now the label's centered. Still a little wrong. Let's go down to on touch begin. First, I just want to see where we're translating the position to be in the local space. I just want to see if it works better if we don't do that. Okay. Okay, that's just not working. So we definitely need location. Let's go to how we're even doing this. So we're using touch.getLocation. I feel like we want to use location in node. Let's see if that's right. But yeah, once we get this meta system taken care of, I think then players will recognize, oh, there's like long-term value in this experience. There's like these social customization kind of features. I think that'll like add some more depth. We just gotta add like a few more of those things, you know, like we're nailing down the UI, we're nailing down this meta system that's really important. Like just a few of those things I think we need to do in a few areas, and I think then we're ready for the art, you know, the art upgrade, and then we're ready for like eventually I'm gonna put a spin-off game of this on the App Store. So it won't be Emojipop itself. Like this PlayEmojipop.com is like my game, you know, this is what I'm invested in, you know. I'm not gonna ship it off onto an app, you know, and have my players there. Like this is still like the core experience for Emojipop, but I'm gonna have like spin-off apps basically elsewhere. And so once we get everything working perfectly, then I can start doing that stuff. Same for my game, saying Kessel's. Okay, interesting. Are you doing like Steam and then you want to go to mobile, or are you doing something with the web? So I can still press it over here. It doesn't work at all, except for halfway through. Have you talked to Android and Steam? Gotcha. I think that's smart because I, like, especially for like as a small developer, like if you push like for my game at least, it's better to push it on the web first, because like the App Store I can make some money on if I have some like momentum. So my goal is push this web game for free and it remains free, and keep pushing it, keep upgrading it, improving it, try to get some steam behind my web game. And then once I maybe do have some momentum, then that's when I release the app game. And then I kind of have some momentum going into that, you know. So I think that's a smart strategy. It depends on the game and everything like that. It's also just easier for me to like be working now in development with this. I don't have to worry about all these problems on, you know, iOS or whatever, or working with 2 different versions of the game yet. Cancel says, I'll have also a meeting with Amazon Game Studio next week. Interesting. About Undead. Cool. That seems like a good opportunity. It makes sense that they might be looking to like make some deals with games and stuff. That could be really good for you. That sounds awesome. That's cool. Good job. So it's a little off. On touch begin. Giving it location in node. Mattman says good luck. That's awesome. Yeah, let us know how that goes. Tell Jeff I said hi. On touch begin. Okay, well, we got most of it. Let's... Haha, will Jeff be at the meeting? Can you imagine you go to this meeting and Jeff Bezos is sitting there? Madman, negotiate free Amazon Prime for life into the deal. Smart. So something's wrong with the X stuff in that button. So pre-challenge layer. Kessel says it's with Dave Anderson. Is that a well-known person? Or is he heading like the games? So we're on the pre-challenge layer. Let's just... Okay, we tried using the position, so we're using loc. This top pose within scaled. Play button. Let's look at the pose within scaled. Let's make sure this is correct. Because I noticed that when we were doing this weird thing for on touch for pose within. Let's just get rid of this. Manager, got it. Are you gonna dress up as a zombie or a chef for the meeting? Or would that be unprofessional? Yeah, so it might, we got most of the functionality down with that button, even though the positioning's a little off. It's okay, we're not pushing this feature live, obviously, yet, so maybe I'll just try to put the skeleton for the pop-down buttons and a couple other of the most used places. I go with a suit. Nice. It's probably a good move. So are you going to be a zombie in a suit? Or... you know Dylan would wear his emoji pop TV at that meeting. That's so funny that you say that, because I would definitely do that. I have my one kind of crappy shirt. Normal suit. Oh, probably smart. That makes you like professional and like responsible. Yeah, I think I'd go in there with shorts and my emoji pop tee. Maybe a suit jacket with emoji pop tee underneath. That could be tight. I think I could rep that. I should make more shirts. I had this idea of eventually allowing players to, like, if they're really into making levels, they could buy a shirt, and I would put their level on the front of their shirt. I don't know if people even would be interested in that, but I think that's cool. Like, it could even give you like a code on the back so you could scan it and play your level or something like that. Okay, I was like, what am I doing? Okay, it's a little off, but that's okay. Let's go to the next one. We're gonna do the win and the lose pop-up now. So let's open up. Actually, let's do the slot one. It's just that this requires me to like beat a level in order to. Let's do it. Let me open up the pop-ups. Which ones should we focus on? There's like a challenge reward layer. That's the win, and a challenge fail. Those are seen a lot. The pop-up for the layer is seen a lot, and there's also the slot machine. The reward. Slot reward layer. The sign-in pop-up layer would be a good one to do as well. I think these are the most used. There's lots of others, of course, but I think these are the ones we should tackle first. If you wanted to pull a power move, you'd go in like your pajamas. I think that's, at least in the movie Social Network, that's what Mark Zuckerberg did. He'd show up to these important meetings in like flip-flops and pajamas because, I don't know, to like, as a power move or something. So we need to add that flag first. Slot rewards, so this dot button pressed equals false. On touch end. So we don't have on touch begin or move. Let's add that. And actually, let's just copy and paste them from the pre-challenge. So now that we've done this once, we can kind of just copy and paste. On touch begin, on touch move. And instead of play button, it's like, so there's also this reward ready flag. Mattman says you already know your app website is the shit if you go into meeting in pajamas. Yeah, that's my goal someday. I want to wear pajamas to an investors meeting. For a fundraising meeting. That's such a power move, it's crazy. You don't have to give a crap. So sometimes you can open up this pop-up. Let me think. Yeah, so there's a next button and a spin button depending on the context of the pop-up. Kessel says, I think about that for the second meeting. Smart. First impression is the suit. Second impression, pajamas. Then you get the two sides. You get the responsible side and also the renegade. One thing I miss about working in the industry, which is that you could drink at work. So like, obviously I could drink here, but it's like at that point I'm just an alcoholic. But if you're drinking on the job, I feel like that makes it like elegant or something. So like, especially on Fridays, everyone kind of starts drinking while they're working, and like it was like really fun. And like then you could like you get kind of drunk and you for the train ride home kind of. So that was some good experiences with that. Madman says, company provided beer. No, they didn't. We had to bring our own. I would just go out to the grocery store across the street and buy some. But everyone had like bottles and stuff like on their desks and stuff. When the first time I got there, I was really surprised. But I had just come out of college, so I was like, oh, this is perfect for me. This reward ready. So yeah, and same thing here. I think some of those big tech companies like Google and stuff, I think they always provide alcohol and stuff, if I'm not mistaken. So we also need press down and press up functions. Yeah, so I might, my goal might be just to finish all this UI stuff today as much as I can, and then so for tomorrow we have somewhat of a game plan for the meta layer. And so tomorrow we're gonna start hitting the ground with this new meta system and implementing these gift boxes with the progresses and putting it more integrated into the gameplay. Like I think we're gonna be exploring that stuff tomorrow. And that gives me a day to think about it. That gives a day for everyone in the chat to think about it. So I think it's always good to have a brainstorm session. Like at least in the industry, like the companies I've worked at, it's like after a brainstorm session, like you need like some time to think and reflect. And then I feel like that's when the best ideas come. It's like a few hours later, you know, sometimes you nail it, but I think sometimes you need to digest everything. So play button, is it called play button? It's if reward is ready, it's called next button. Oh no, it's called spin button. So let's change the name. This should just be button down. Madman PS2 says, if you don't brainstorm and digest, you make rushed decisions that may not be the best choice. Very true. I totally agree with you. And waste time. Exactly. If you're kind of just designing on the fly, like I've done this in the past, it's easy to do as a one-person team. Like you just kind of go in directions, and then you make a bunch of stuff, and you realize, oh, like I wasted all my time because I didn't need to do any of that, and I needed to do something else. But yeah, there's some people who go to a brainstorm session and they want to walk away with like a definitive plan, and so yeah, like you said, they force bad decisions, rush decisions. Like you do need to put your foot down at a point, but you want to be as fluid as possible. So instead of play button, it's spin button. It's almost 1 o'clock in California. I'm gonna be programming until this house is on fire. That's how dedicated I am. Like literally, you're gonna see like flames behind me, and I'm gonna be like trying to finish this UI. I'm not actually that close. I'm like half an hour away. Okay. And right here. Spin button. Right here. And what is the name of the spin label? It is called spin label. Okay. And the last thing we need to do is on the touch end function, we need to press the button up once they do hit the spin button. Actually, it removes the button and label, so we probably don't have to do that. Okay, so let's just test it out. Let me look one more time. There must be some mistakes that I made. Right, spin button, button down, spin, button down, spin. Alright. Let's try it. So we're going to try to beat a level, and then so that button we just did was for the slot layer. So when you get the slot machine, when you hit stop, that's the button we're working on punching in. Oops. So that's a good excuse to play this. This is another level in World 10, which was released yesterday. It incorporates the ghosts, but I also wanted to show off the ghosts with the supers, because I wanted to highlight that I feel like some people could think that maybe the bombs don't destroy the invisible ghosts, but they actually do. So I want players to see one of those interactions with one of these kinds of obstacles. There's also a somewhat interesting puzzle at the top with some interesting choices. Oops. Oh, I got confused as to which ones were lit up. Cool, so those bombs blew up the middle ones. Now we gotta get the ones on the side. Okay. I'm just gonna throw it on the side because I know I can make this yellow match, and I did. I just gotta make this green match. Barely did it. Alright, next. So this is the one. Okay, it doesn't work. Oh, it's because so in the main container layer. So if the pre-layer is open, do the on-touch for pre-layer. Otherwise, if this slot reward layer, if that exists, then run it for slot reward layer. I see lots of places using touch.get location. Let's just try using that instead. And we'll also add this to the on touch moved function. And yeah. So I'm going to open up my database and give myself another level. Hope everyone's doing good who's watching me on Twitter and watching me on Twitch. I'll probably have to like step away in half an hour or so to get some lunch and stuff. But I think I'll come back for a couple hours at least after that, so we can I want to finish as much of this UI as we can today, because I'm really excited to work on the meta system tomorrow. I think that's going to be really fun and important. Okay, so I got my database open. I can show you. So this is where I keep all my users' data. And we set challenge index. -1 means there's no star. Let's set it to 2. That's a quicker level. That's going to be the speed level, I believe. I love the speed level mode in Emoji Pop. I'm thinking of more ideas for alternate modes that use some skill. Eventually I would love like a physics-based mode. That's one of the modes in a game called Snoopy Pop. It's like the emojis become like physics-based, so there's like ropes and there's circular rotating things and stuff, and I think it could be awesome to explore in this game that's more embracing that skill kind of stuff. I have a lot of experience with that kind of stuff anyway. I think I could make some cool stuff, but that's maybe a little bit down the road. I have other more simple modes in mind, but I'm always open to ideas about that. I think we should implement a new one soon. Kessels is going to sleep. See you all later. See you. When's your meeting with Jeff? Is it next week or is it tomorrow? Oh, next week is your meeting. Okay, cool. Madman says, yeah, thanks Kessels for joining us in the chat. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Madman says, I love physics-based web games like Falling Sand and Powder Game. I don't know those games by those titles, but I'm guessing I know the kind of game you're talking about. Falling Sand sounds like the there's this iPhone game called Where's the Water, I think, or something, where you dig and make the stuff fall down or something. I'm trying to play I was trying to play Falling Sand, but my computer is not liking the flash or whatever. Is this Falling Sand? Basically, you can draw different elements, and they'll interact in different ways. Interesting. Whoa. Who uses Bing though? Yeah, I'm using whatever freaking browser this is called, because I didn't want to. Chrome is what I usually use, and I just don't want to have everything I use privately. I don't want to like have on the stream, so I have this certain browser I use for my. You got a Windows Phone too? I actually don't. I don't have a Windows Phone. What makes you think I have a Windows Phone? I forgot that Windows even had phones. That's pretty funny, a Windows Phone. Just giving you a hard time. That's pretty funny. Yours makes sense. Yeah, so like, and I have nothing to worry about. I could use Chrome, but I'm just deadly afraid that like some really what I'm afraid of is like some ID or some number or something is going to be shown, because like I have all these app IDs and stuff like that, and so like I know I'll make stupid mistakes like that, so I'm just like, if I just have it in my own browser, then nothing to worry about. I don't delete my internet history either. That's pretty funny. A funny story is, the reason why I'm so paranoid is that one time I had a class, very first day of school, where this new teacher, he's new to the school, and literally in the first 5 minutes of class, he opens up his computer, opens the projector, and there's some naughty images that he was looking at, like last night or whatever. It was just open. Like the second he opened it, first impression with this guy, it was like the most insane thing. Like everyone was like dying of laughter, but also it was really awkward. Wow. Yeah. And yeah, that guy actually sucked as a teacher, and he was let go after that one semester. But yeah, that was like, whoa, dude, this is insane. Day one, you already failed so hard. Okay, so this is the speed level in World 10 that we made on the stream last week, actually. And so it's a 3-color level. It's bigger than most speed levels, so it's kind of about making the right moves. There's not much stress with the colors. Oh, whoops, I probably should save that blue. So it's like some intense color management that's restrained within like simplicity. So 3 colors, you know, and it's intriguing because the way the emojis kind of flip-flop is cool. Oh, what the? Sometimes I get confused with the ghosts. Okay, and it also makes you have to make all the matches at the top, which usually it's just a drop top, so this is a little more puzzly. Okay, so can we press down? We can press down. It's just a little messed up. But that's okay. We implemented the core structure. Just want to implement the core button pushing and all these pop-ups, and then we can kind of polish them as we go. The other one is the win and the lose pop-ups. Let's just do the skeleton for those real quick. Yeah, I guess this teacher we had, though, I guess he was involved. He was like a real game developer. He was like the lead designer on some of like the old Star Wars games at Electronic Arts, like back in the day or whatever. And yeah, he was, every class he would just talk to us about his stories, and we literally wouldn't even learn anything. Like, I know it sounds like I'm like over exaggerating, but like literally he would just tell us like his industry stories, and I don't know, because he was like fired in a really eventual way from Electronic Arts because he made the Star Wars game, and then in the comments of the code he was like talking crap about the audience of the game. Like he was saying like people who like this Star Wars game are nerds, and he was like insulting them in all these ways all over the place. And so when someone who played the game went into the code and saw that like this guy was like talking crap about them all over the place, then it became like this really public thing, and he had to leave the company, which I think is pretty funny. Okay, so let's look at the challenge reward. Let's do that first. So what's the button called? Is it called play button? What a way to go out. Yeah, yeah, it's better to go out with a bang, I guess, than with a whimper. Yeah, this guy was such a loser. Next button. Yeah, it goes to show you, like, I was like, this guy, he's totally like, he can't do any, like, he I don't know, he's horrible. Like, it gave me some inspiration. Like, if this guy is like leading game development, like game design teams and stuff, like anyone can do it with enough work. Like, this guy's an idiot, you know? Like, so that's the best thing I got out of that class, probably. Next button is what it's called. So we'll have a flag called button down. That's also pretty bad too, because if you go out like that at a company, you're not going to get hired at another large company like that, probably, you know, because you've already shown that you make those kinds of mistakes, and the audience will remember or whatever, and they just don't want to take any risks, you know. Button down. So we got to add on touch begin, on touch middle. Let's take it from that place we did it originally, which is pre-challenge. So on touch begin, on touch move. And we'll do the same thing in the challenge fail there. And we need to add the flag here too. Okay, so Mattman said he probably started some LLC and is now making games behind a pseudonym. That, I could totally see him doing that. Yeah, because I haven't heard anything about him in a long time. He's probably lying low and doing that stuff like you said. I'm curious, Mattman, did you start an LLC or like a single member LLC for your game, for what you're working on? I'm guessing you do? I was thinking about it, but I don't think I need to do it yet because I'm not making any money or anything or paying anyone, but like, I was looking into how to do that. Yeah, LLC, got it. Yeah, seems like the smart thing to do. I should get around to that. Own 50-50 between me and my business partner. Cool, gotcha. Yeah, so I'd probably do a single member LLC, which I guess is slightly different, but it's, yeah, exactly the same thing. Just like a little less work, I think. So next button. I think that's what it's called in both of them, right? Oh, it looks like it's called play button here. Cool, so we don't have to change it. Next button. And the flag is just called button down now. Okay. And we need to add the press down, press up. Had an LLC, says Mattman, from previous business venture anyways. Gotcha. Yeah, I had an LLC with a few people, but we dissolved it, I believe. That's convenient that you had already done it. So on challenge reward, it's called next button. If you don't have LLC, Apple makes you publish under your legal name, which doesn't give you the best look. Makes sense. Had an LLC from previous business venture. Okay, yeah. If you don't have an LLC, Apple makes you publish under your legal name. Interesting. I didn't know that. On touch begin. Yeah, so this should be next button. Control copy. And this should be button down. Okay, looks like we're good. Let's just copy and paste. Press up and press down and tailor them to the file. Paste here. Save. Paste here. Save. So change the flag names. On challenge reward, it's called next button. Actually, we gotta get rid of this definition. Is there a next label? It's called play label. Next button, next label. Should be next. LLC gives you personal protection if sued as well, which is a big plus. But you probably need that. Yeah, so that's one of the biggest things. Like, before I start making any kind of money or whatever, I like you said, I definitely want to establish that LLC, because like, I'm making the same kind of game as the company I used to work at, and that's legal, and I'm not using any of their proprietary information. But I just don't want to be screwed over in some way, because I don't really know, you know. So yeah, that makes sense. And also I'm using this emoji art right now. That's like I think it's open source. I think I'm doing things correctly, but I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I think I'm right, but like, yeah, I want to be protected. So definitely going to be doing the LLC for that reason alone, basically. They didn't make you sign a non-compete. I don't think in California that it's legal to have non-compete clauses. I think that is exclusive to California, though, and I think that's like a big reason, like, behind like the Silicon Valley mentality, is that like they don't want to have non-compete clauses because they want people jumping around and like pursuing new things. Probably true. California law is ahead of its time. Makes sense. But yeah, it just makes me nervous, because like, I don't know, a big company could, I'm sure, find some reason to go against someone they don't like, but obviously I'm absolutely no threat, you know, like, until I like actually have players and that are playing the game and stuff. And I'm also not on any of the platforms that are competing with their games, so that makes me like totally safe. But when I put the game out on App Store, before that, I want to be able to have like my company name and all that stuff and the protection. So yeah, I'll do it then for sure. I should probably figure out how long it takes to get that all taken care of. So it's called Next Label. There's no BG to it. Next Label. And let's add the definition again. And when it's down, it's going to be the down version. Everything else is good. Let's do the same thing in the fail. So there's no BG for the label. Let's get rid of this definition. We're going to use the definition given in this file. And this top one is going to be down. Okay, we're good. I just want to make sure for the slot reward, I'm pretty sure I didn't use the right version of this definition. I just want to make sure, since it's so easy to fix. Spin button. There it is. Okay, maybe it was right. I wasn't sure though. And this one's down. Okay, so last thing to do is in the main container layer. We gotta see. Okay, we're checking for the pre-layer, the slot reward layer, but also we need to check for the challenge reward and challenge fail layer. Challenge reward layer. failed. That's important to know. And I'm just gotta copy and paste that in the touch begin. Right here. Challenge failed. I did challenged fail there. Challenge failed. Okay, so what we've done in this 3-hour stream is we talked a lot about our plan for the meta layer, and I'm really excited to start working on that. This will kind of become an emoji avatar customization thing, I think, and I think we could even maybe we could add maybe the gifts that you are working towards, like maybe right here and here. That could be cool. And we reorganize these buttons to make this UI stand out for when we do the meta layer, which we're going to start doing tomorrow. We also worked on some of the buttons and the pop-ups. So I just want to let me give myself a level to play. I just want to see if these pop-ups are working. They might be sort of working, and we'll have to fix them in the afternoon. OMG. Okay. So, world challenge index, we're going to give it 3. That's the last level in this world. Let's play it. If you are new to the stream or new to Emoji Pop, you can play it at playemojipop.com. And it's a really fun puzzle bubble shooter game. It's really out there because you can create your own levels using the stuff you unlock, and then you can share it with the whole world. So it's a great way to learn like level design and game design. And I got all these YouTube tutorials I'm producing and stuff. So let's open up the star. It has a very different structure than most corporately made bubble shooter games because I think the way they make them is a little broken. Okay, so this is using the bow and arrows, which changes turns each turn. So they change their orientation every move, and you can make them go in a circle. You can make them go back, left, and right. You can make them do whatever you want in the editor. If you shoot them, they shoot everything in their path. These snails move once per turn, so they're moving once per turn. I'm trying to like get around them so that I can hit these arrows. Okay, so now I've exposed them. So let's see. Let me know in the chat if anyone has any feedback or questions about the game. I stream Monday through Friday. Okay. I like the snails that you can see where they're gonna move to next. So it allows you to kind of think ahead and be like extra smart, kinda. Oh. I'm gonna hit this. I just gotta hit this last one. Probably didn't do that the best. And now I just need to hit these arrows at the top, or I could make the matches, doesn't matter. Oh, 2 moves. Okay, so this is where I implemented. Sounds a little broken. That one's working better. This one's working perfectly, actually. Awesome. It's just that we need to make the label of a higher Z index. Wow, why is that one working so perfectly? I need to see what's working there that isn't working in the others, and I'll just make the change the same. And this one's not working as well. 662X. 662, it's inner content layer, right? Slot reward layer. It's being called by line 567. This dot spin button. Is there not a spin button? Oh, it becomes an OK button afterwards. Okay, that's why it wasn't working. So with one screen, there's two different possible buttons, so we need to kind of implement the different push downs for those. Okay, so there's also like these pop-ups up here. We could work on the push downs for those. But I wanted to do the main ones first, and there's other UI stuff like these finger pointing things. I don't think they're the best to scroll, but yeah, we should probably just use arrows. Alright, so that's what we did in this stream. We're starting to polish up the UI and make the buttons universal. We were talking about our plans for the meta. I think I got a good direction to go in based on feedback, especially by MadmanPS2. Thanks for being in the chat. If you're new, I'm gonna walk away to eat lunch, but I stream Monday through Friday. I stream a few hours in the morning, which we're at the 3-hour mark right now, and I try to stream a couple hours in the evening, so like 5 hours per day coding on stream, and then plus some stuff I do in the weekends and stuff. That's enough to make a new update to the game every Monday. You can play our latest update at playemojipop.com. We've updated the UI, we added a new emoji, the ghost emoji, a new world of levels. So I'd really love anyone's feedback on all of that. Give it a play. I'll be back in a little bit after I've had lunch. Thanks for watching, thanks for chatting, and I hope to see you later or tomorrow. So peace out. Good talk.